So today I'm going to show you what we've learned from more than 130,000 real wedding inquiries and bookings, and why buyer behaviour matters more than most people realise, and how small changes in your communication can make it easier for the right people to book. By the end of this, you'll understand why some inquiries move quickly and why some go quiet, and how to create a booking experience that feels clearer, more natural and more reassuring for the person on the other side. So if you've ever sent a quote and then heard nothing back, or had one inquiry book almost straight away and another totally ghost you, you've probably found yourself wondering what the difference is. Because on your side, everything feels exactly the same. The same service, the same pricing, and exactly the same process. But the outcome can be completely different. What I didn't realise when this was happening to me was it wasn't necessarily about whether my email template was right or wrong. It was more about whether it suited the person that was receiving it. Now, most people think that they just need to reply faster, but what matters just as much, if not more, is whether your communication is giving that person what they need in order to feel confident moving forward. And when we looked at the data across more than 130,000 real inquiries and confirmed bookings, this became even clearer. So one of the most important things that we found is that most people spend quite a lot of time researching before they even inquire. By the time they actually contact you, they are often ready to book, which is a great reflection of how well you're attracting the right type of clients in the first place. So now the inquiry stage is not the start of the sales process. It's actually the final reassurance stage. That moment where they are deciding, does this feel right? And once they do inquire, decisions tend to happen really quickly. In most cases, within about 5 to 7 days. So although you may have had months to be discovered, you often only have a few days to help someone feel confident enough to book. And that is such an important shift to understand. If someone has already shortlisted you, already likes your work, already feels that you could be the right fit, then the inquiry experience starts to matter enormously. At that point, they are not just looking for information. They are asking themselves things like, can I trust this person? Do they feel organised? Do they understand what I need? Do I feel comfortable moving forward? If those things feel clear and easy, bookings often happen very quickly. If something feels slightly off, people do not always say no. They pause and they go quiet. And that is usually the point where people say that they have been ghosted. So a lot of suppliers think that the ghosting starts when the client stops replying or doesn't reply at all. But actually, in many cases, it starts earlier than that. It starts with the very first response. For example, if someone inquires and the message that they get back is, I'm really busy right now, I'll reply within 48 hours and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. It might feel harmless and it might feel like you are simply managing their expectations. But from the client's point of view, what does that actually communicate? It tells them that they are not important right now, it creates distance and it creates uncertainty. And that also opens up time for them to keep looking elsewhere. So in a lot of cases, that's not them ghosting you, that's you ghosting them first. Not intentionally, obviously, but in the experience that you are creating. Because nowadays, people are used to having things super quick and easy and personalised. They're not just looking at your work anymore. They're noticing how clear everything is and how it feels, how easy it is to move forward with booking you, and whether the process feels like it's going to be calm and organised. And this is where the buyer behaviour comes in and is super important, because not everyone needs the same thing from you in order to feel ready to book. So if you think about your own inquiries, you will probably recognise this straight away. Some people want lots of detail. They ask questions and they take their time. Others just want to know if you're available and they're ready to move forward. Some go a bit quiet and then come back later, and others feel quite decisive and book quickly. So when we talk about buyer behaviour, this is not about putting people into rigid boxes. It's about understanding that different people make decisions differently and therefore need different things from your communication. So inside Insights, we use 4 main buyer behaviour styles: power, planner, serene and vibrant. And once you start recognising them, your inquiries begin to make a lot more sense. Power clients want a quick, clear decision and a straightforward way to book. They tend to be decisive, they don't want any friction, they don't want to work too hard to understand what happens next. Where you could lose them is by overloading them with too much detail and slowing things down. If your response is long, heavy or unclear, they switch off. What they need is clarity, efficiency and obvious next steps. So for this type of person, it's about making things super easy to scan read and easy to move forward. Planner clients want to feel fully informed before making a decision. They want structure, clarity and enough detail to feel sure of what they are saying yes to. Where you lose them is by being too vague or not giving enough detail up front. If your response leaves questions unanswered, they hesitate. What they need is transparency, information and a sense that you have thought things through. For them, detail is not overwhelming, a lack of detail is. Serene clients want to feel comfortable, supported and confident in their choice. This is actually the most common dominant style in the data, which is actually really interesting. These people want things to feel calm, easy and reassuring. Where you lose them is by being too transactional and not building enough connection. If your messaging feels cold, rushed or purely functional, they do not settle into that decision. What they need is reassurance, warmth and the sense that they are in safe hands. Vibrant clients want to feel excited and inspired by what you offer. They respond well to energy, personality and creativity. Where you lose them is by sending generic responses that lack any personality or energy. If the message feels flat, they disengage. What they need is connection, enthusiasm, and something that feels a little more alive. Now, this is the part that changes everything. The same message can work brilliantly for one person and miss the mark completely for another. And that is often why suppliers feel confused. Because they are thinking, but I sent a good response. And maybe you did, but it just may not have been the right response for that particular person. So instead of asking, why did they not book? A much better question to ask yourself is, did my communication give them what they needed to decide? That one shift changes how you look at the whole inquiry process. Because now it's not about the client, the market, or assuming that they were never actually serious. It becomes about understanding where hesitation is being created. So the good news is, this is not about rewriting everything from scratch. You don't need 4 completely different businesses or 4 completely different systems. Usually, the things that need adjusting are actually quite simple. It's the tone, the length, the structure, and the next steps. If someone is more decisive, they do not need a long explanation. They need a clear way to book. If someone is more detail focused, they don't want less information, they want more clarity. If someone is more reassurance led, they need to feel supported and comfortable. And if someone responds to energy, they want something that feels engaging and personal. So this is not about becoming scripted or overly sales focused. It is simply about understanding that different people need slightly different things from you in order to feel comfortable moving forward. Now, you can absolutely start applying this yourself just by understanding the different buyer behaviours. But this is also exactly why we built Insight within Crevida, because one of the hardest parts of communication is not always knowing what that particular person needs from you. Insight helps you identify that much earlier. So when someone inquires, you are not just looking at their date and the services that they want, you're also starting to understand how they are likely to make a decision. And that means you are no longer guessing. Then we have the recommendation, which helps you apply that insight in practice. So instead of looking at an inquiry and wondering how to respond, you have the guidance that helps you shape your communication in a way that is more likely to land well with that person. It's not to replace your voice, not to make everything feel robotic, but to help you create a message that feels more relevant, more natural, and more effective. So instead of thinking, how do I write the perfect reply? You are starting from a much stronger place. So if there is one thing to take away from this session, it's this. Not everyone needs the same thing from you to feel ready to book. Some people want things to be quick and straightforward. Some want more detail, some need reassurance, and some respond to energy and personality. And once you start recognising that, your inquiries begin to make much more sense. You start to understand why some people book super quick, why some people take longer, why some people go quiet, and what might need to change in order to help the right people move forward. This is not about doing more. It's about making things feel clearer, easier, and more natural for the person on the other side. And when that happens, your process not only converts better, it also feels better for you and them. If you'd like to know more about how Crevida can help, simply head to www.crevidaapp.com.